Good morning. Good morning, world, or evening, wherever you're at listening to this. I want to make this video for the Self-Perfected video challenge this week. But when was the last time you dreamt? Like, really? When was the last time that you looked at what it is you want for yourself, for others, for the world? Like, what is that dream you have within you of how you'd rather see things be than maybe how they are right now? And when was the last time you did that? I know some people who will once a week or once a month, they will go and they will drive around the neighborhoods with the houses that they'd like to live in. Or, go look at or sit in or test drive the car that they want to have. Or go and, spend time with, sorry, I just got Teddy over here. He's amped to see me. What you thinking, Teddy? He's learning how to just lick my foot instead of bite my foot to get my attention. So that's pretty great. And, the point being, you have a dream within yourself. It comes from your imagination. It technically comes from your programming, so it might take some work to rework it. But it's important to look at what do you want for yourself and for the world. Like, I meet a surprising amount of people who have not actually put thought or care or intention into a vision of the world because they're just, I guess, preoccupied by the present and the past and just thinking, the future, I hope it's good. Well, here's a little piece of wisdom is you can predict the future because you can create the future. However, it doesn't mean that, don't take that and just go into la la land. Because that's not going to help anybody. If you're like, I can just create the future, okay, I'm going to be a millionaire, yeah, and then just go keep doing what you're doing. Like, you have to have practicality with it. But for the sake of this video, is really looking at when was the last time, for example, you took a piece of paper, pen, pencil, whatever, started just writing down, what do I want? What do I want for my life? What do I want for my kids? What do I want for my community? That type of thing. I gotta remove myself from Teddy. He's going crazy right now. He gets all amped up in the morning. Because I'll be back, Teddy. I was gonna go make my morning coffee, but I want to give this my undivided attention. So, when was the last time you took a piece of paper, wrote that down, what you want, how you want your life to be? I remember doing this years ago when I was living out in Boston, and I would write out, I want to be able to get a massage every week. I want to have superfoods and green juices and stuff every day because it just feels so amazing in your body, and it's like, I never knew how good you could feel when you eat like great food. But at the time, I was like, I don't even know where to get a green juice. I don't want to go to the local juice shop and spend, $10 on a juice. Like, that's, stupid. But I was like, but I want that. Like, that would be awesome. Then I started getting more expansive. Instead of just looking at myself, it's like, how do I have an awesome life? And I was like, how do I have an awesome life for myself and, like, my friends and the people around me? So then I started to look at, okay, how would we, part of my dream would be we have a community centers for people who want to learn and grow and talk about stuff like this, where we come together like once a week or whatever. We can support people to even entertain this idea of dreaming bigger. It's just not wow, what if this was taught in schools? Imagine. Actually taught in schools. Not you can, whatever, not some BS, but actually fundamentally supporting children to realize, hey, if I apply myself and understand how the system works, I can learn how to leverage that and create things. over time, though, as I kept developing, and I actually ended up getting a lot of the things that I wanted. I was like, I want a new wardrobe because I thought the clothes I had, I was like, this is like, I could use something new. And then I end up like, and so this is now when I was living right outside New York, and then I remember going into New York and being like, this is cool. You can get really cool clothes for kind of cheap here. And I mean, hey, now I realize, how they do that is because there's like, where they import the textiles and the clothes from. So but at the time it was like, this is a process. This is a journey to start to realize, okay, I can create, I can learn how things work, I can write stuff out, I can then go make it happen. So then my dream kept expanding, and I was like, okay, well, how do I get around people that are, really making things happen? Like, I want to have an impact in the world. And that then led me to like work with Gerard and with founders. He brought in so many people that really started to open my eyes of like, wow, if you just have a couple networks, you could really put people together and you could really make a big change in the world. And then that led me to dream even more, because I kept doing the same exercise. It's like 5 to 10 minutes, take a blank sheet of paper and just write out everything you would do if money didn't matter. If you had all the money in the world, or you knew you couldn't fail, or you knew you were going to die in 48 hours, like, what would you do? And thoughts might be like, I'd skydive, I would go, do this, that, the other thing. But it's like, as you keep doing this and you train yourself to think like that, it opens you up, like, big time. Then part of my list was traveling. I was like, I want to travel around the world and see everything and see the sights and whatever. And I was like, then I ended up doing that. And I was around South America for like months. But then 2 months in, I was like, what am I doing? Who am I to just realize, okay, I have this ability and this power to create, to make things happen, to put my mind to something and actually take the action necessary and put the pieces together. And the next thing you know, I'm like in Argentina, like, and it was cool. Like, a lot of people would say it's great. It's like, oh, you go out like, clubbing on like a Wednesday in Argentina, and it's like beautiful. There's like food and music, and you're overlooking the city, and it's awesome, and you have like little responsibility. And I'm just like, doing consulting work, like very part-time, and it was like life. I just remember looking at myself like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I have this one life here. I have this ability to create. I have this ability to dream and apply myself. And I'm just wasting it for this experience of going to a club or going and, I don't know, just like looking forward to like eating some fancy meal or whatever. There's nothing inherently wrong with that stuff, but it's your starting point within it and the amount of priority I was putting on it. When I could have put all that attention and resources instead of looking at how do I get the best experience here, or meet the coolest people, or go to the best bar or whatever. How do I take that level of resources, like from my mind, from my being, to apply myself to things that are going to actually create a better situation for everybody? Because what good is it if I spend my years just chasing a high, basically, like metaphorically? What good is it? What do I have to show for that? Someday when I have kids or grandkids, and they're like, hey, the world's kind of screwed up. There's all this pollution everywhere, and no one trusts each other. Like, what were you doing about it? I'm like, oh, I was just clubbing. It's like, like, do I want that? And that led me then to expand the dream again. So I've done this consistently over the past, I don't know, since 2016 I was exposed to this stuff, so 5 years. And I would keep expanding. And then I'd get the thing. I get some of the things. But still, I have some of the dreams of like, end homelessness permanently. That's going to take some time. But I kept having more of those ones of like, how would we actually end homelessness, or how would we like build a space station, and how could we set up like a bunker so that we had, like in Greenland they have the seed bank, so that let's say some catastrophic thing happened, like an asteroid hit the Earth. How could we set up a bunker so that we have like the base DNA code and like seeds and everything, so we could like repopulate the Earth, like just in case. And that would just lead me to like more and more like expansive ideas of like, how could we, like, I don't know, colonize other planets? Like, isn't that what Elon Musk is doing to Mars, trying to do? And then that led me back though to like, so then I met more people. So eventually, because I learned this stuff from a group called GIN, Global Information Network. It's specifically a training called Your Wish Is Your Command, and I ended up going to one of these GIN events. This was now a year and a half ago. I was like, fine, like, because part of my dream list was like, I want to have friends that I'm friends with for the rest of my life. Like, I really want a awesome network of people that really care about me. I really care about them. We're working together on stuff that really matters, like ending homelessness. And actually, right before this event, so I listened to this guy, Peter Diamandis. I've really enjoyed his. He has a book called Bold. He does a really good job of articulating like what's going on in terms of exponential technology, like how the fact that our phone now has like, I don't know, probably hundreds of devices. Like in the past, we used to have to have a flashlight and a radio, and a phone and a computer and a calculator and all that stuff. It was like all separate. Now it's all in one device, and this device is getting cheaper, and we can print fake iPhones or fake tablets or Android phones or whatever for like dollars. And so Peter Diamandis kind of profiles that. He says there's a exponential change happening. It's things are disrupting, like how Instagram with 13 employees disrupted all of Kodak. How Kodak was doing the Polaroid cameras, all that. They got completely disrupted by Instagram, and then Instagram was bought by Facebook for, I believe it was $1 billion with, I think it was still with just 13 employees. How does that happen? It's because in the 2000s now, technology has now increased to a level that is mind-boggling. We're still just at the beginning. We're still at the inflection point. So in 5 to 10 years, when people my age, right, we have kids, the world that they're going to inherit is very different. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Eric. Awesome to see you guys. Eric's been a huge part of my journey, too, as is Isabel. Eric remembers me back from the Founders days. And Your Wish Is Your Command, right? Eric, we've been listening to Your Wish Is Your Command for a long time. So as I'm now starting to meet more real people who are actually doing this dreaming on a bigger level, and really looking at seriously, how do we solve these world's biggest problems? I remember Peter Diamandis explained it was like 7 or 11 industries that are ripe for disruption, and if we can disrupt them in a way that's actually like best for everybody, it's going to create a fundamentally better world. For example, like healthcare, information and like telecommunications, education. Computers, all of that. Obviously, you'd have news and media, energy, different things like that. And I just remember making that list. It was literally the night before I went to the GIN event. And I was reading this book and I was like, gosh, I don't want to just pick one of these. Well, I realized I might have to just pick one and then we can infiltrate to the rest. But I was like, as part of my dream, I want to be connected to people that are working on actually solving all of these and doing it in the best way. So by the time we have kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, they're inheriting a world that is actually, like, fundamentally better for everybody. And I was reading that book. I actually got one of the books from the library. It was his book, Abundance. And I remember like taking notes on it, and I just like returned it to the library because it was about to be overdue, and I was like, I'm going out of town for like 2 weeks because I was going to Denver for this event. So I go to the event, and I end up meeting a handful of people that are literally working on all of these. Because that's how it works. As you actually dedicate yourself, like in your self-honesty, you're dedicated to finding those solutions, those people will come across your path, but it's on you to instigate that conversation or make it happen. And one of the guys in particular, I saw him, he was wearing a t-shirt with the quote, "I recognize it was success is a decision away." I was like, "You must be here for the Ginny bend." Sure enough, he showed me the ropes. He's like, "Yeah, man, we're here to," I was asking him, I was like, "Hey, what's your dream?" He goes, "Yeah, there's like kind of two main parts of it." He's like, "One, we got to change the economic system because it's abusive, but that requires understanding financial policy, getting into politics, becoming billionaires, all that. Like that's down the road." It's like first step is what I call educational perfection. So perfecting your education and the education of especially the youth, but of everybody. That's the next step. And he said that, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, financial perfection. I want that. I want the money, right?" And he could tell. He's like, "Okay. No, there's a reason, like, you want to be successful, right? You want to have monetary wealth." Because that was a big part of my dreams all the time. So I was like, I want to be a multi-millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. I want to have $1 billion company, all this stuff. But I looked at my actual bank account and I looked at my businesses that I was running, and I was barely break even. Because that was on a subconscious level. That was my threshold. That was like my thermostat, my standards. It was like set at breaking even, and that's like good enough. But I kept doing this dream exercise, wanting more. Like wanting to have more money, more resources, more abilities, bigger network, all that. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking across the table, and this is Kian, for those who don't know who I'm talking about. He was the one who actually led us through this exercise recently. And he's like, "Yeah, dude, so tell me what's your chief aim? What's your dream? All that." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I want to be part of groups like this where we can actually change things." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "you may not understand it now, but this is the group. Like, this is literally what we're here for." And at the time, I didn't fully understand him, but he started to introduce me to more people. And then by the end of that weekend, I really understood it. Like, these people have something that is very special. And it's not any one of them in particular special. It's what they have and the principles that they stand for and the resources and the tools that they have access to and that they share. That's what's special. So this was then my introduction into TechnoTutor and the mission of TechnoTutor, which is the overall, the destiny of TechnoTutor is to end child slavery, abuse, and poverty. And you do that through educating the planet. And it takes generations. This is not some overnight fix. But it's over time, you educate the youth, they grow up, they educate their youth, and by then it's like, it doesn't make sense to just abuse. So that's like the bigger vision. And I was like, dang, like this is cool. Like this is the type of group I've been wanting to be with. But then Kian presumes to tell me, he's like, "All right, man, so you want to be like a billionaire. You want to, do all this cool stuff. And like, you have all these dreams." He's like, "How about instead of writing it just on a piece of paper and just using your conscious mind?" Because at the time I had heard about that. There's different levels of the mind. Like there's your conscious mind and then there's your subconscious, right? And like the subconscious is more powerful. I read like 7 books on it. I was like, "Oh yeah, I understand. Subconscious mind's powerful. Yeah, I have to access my subconscious mind." And Ken's like, "Bro, you don't know anything." He's like, "Dude, your conscious mind is 0.5% of what's going on. Your subconscious mind, let's say you even get to your subconscious mind, right? You do a binaural beats and you do some hypnosis thing and you do all this stuff perfectly and you get one thing through to your subconscious mind, right? That's still only 24.5% of what's going on in your mind. So congrats, you learned NLP. You've accessed your subconscious mind for a split second and you put something in there. Guess what? You ain't even half of the way of getting stuff actually in there so it resonates out." So he explained to me how TechnoTutor accesses all levels of the mind, your unconscious, like that part of your body that's literally physically doing stuff when you don't have to think about it, like it's secreting hormones in your brain or duplicating your cells. That's your unconscious. So it's like, dude, what if you put your dreams into all 3 levels of your mind? And I was like, well, I'll probably do something. He's like, yeah, man. So he sat down with me, walked me through it. He's like, hey, put in these dreams, whatever your dreams are, put them in, and then like I'll show you how to do this. And that really changed things. So it took me 5 years, 5, 6 years, whatever it was, right? From the beginning of that story, when I first heard Your Wish Is Your Command, I was at an event in Vegas. And then I was living in Boston, all this stuff. And I'm like dreaming bigger, bigger. But it was like, still was all self-interest. At the end of the day, it was all like, I want a nice car. I want a nice home. I want it to be good for myself and my family. But I wasn't able to even fathom or comprehend what it really took to have something that has global impact. Like, think of the level Jeff Bezos is thinking at. Like, he wants to have Amazon distribution centers in every single city. Like, that's global impact. Is it good global impact? At the moment, no, because but I'm not here to complain about Bezos. I'm here to take responsibility and become equal to Bezos and Elon and all the other billionaires, right? Or people who run the world and whatever. So my dream evolved over time. It took practice. It took dedication. It took showing up. It took a willingness over and over and over. And I see a lot of people fall off. And I had fallen off from time to time. I stepped away from the training. I stopped doing the dreaming exercise, but I kept coming back. Because I realized it's like within who I am here to actually make an impact. Like a for real impact. Not like I donated to charity a lot of money. Charity isn't going to solve it. Charity's not going to end child abuse, slavery, and poverty. Charity's a Band-Aid. So now I'm looking at, okay, for real, I can program stuff into my unconscious. Then I look at it and I like watch a YouTube video or read one book about it. I'm like, whoa, that's how you do it. Cool. And certain things, like, for example, revamping how the internet works and how we can get internet to more places. That's not my specialty, and I'm not going to do that. But I want to know the people that are implementing that so that we can do it in a sustainable, healthy way instead of just a profit over everything way. Because, if we have, let's say, for example, there's a project called Loon. I think it's from Google, but it's how they have like balloons carrying whatever device that could share like Wi-Fi signal, or it's something like that. Whatever the internet access is, I'm guessing it'd be Wi-Fi. And then these balloons are supposed to float around the Earth, and they go in the jet stream and the weather and whatever, and that's their plan, to have these balloons flying around so that everyone has access to internet. Cool in theory. What does that do to the environment? What does that do to birds? What does that do to all the ecosystems? Is that going to kill the bees? Because guess what? If we lose the bees, from what I understand, they're we have a very delicate balance in our ecosystem with bees. I don't know how those EMFs affect bees, but I've heard and I've read research that it does. I'm not claiming it does because I have to learn more about it. But again, that's like, if we're just doing profit over everything or some ideal over everything, instead of looking at what's actually best here, that's where these dreams can get dangerous. So, as I'm now looking at this for myself, I'm like, I now have the ability to equalize myself to these people at the very top. And it's going to take more years. I'm prepared. But the biggest dream that I have is getting a real education into the home of every single person, so that any kid has the ability to get on the same level as Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, but without having to compromise like they did. Because guess what? To get to the very top of any industry at the moment requires compromise. You have to be part of that group. However, what we've got with TechnoTutor, it's self-perfected, this network, but it's specifically TechnoTutor. Because if you don't have TechnoTutor, you don't really understand at the moment what the mechanism is by which we fundamentally change things. And everyone in TechnoTutor is going to have a little different role. Some people are going to build giant sales organizations. Other people are going to be lawyers, and they're going to help us advocate at the highest levels, like the UN, and demand that human rights are actually met. And it's not just some lip service. And then we'll have people that will also be getting into the media and reforming the media. If you don't have the media on your side, right now people are still so illiterate and so unable to discern that they will just believe what the news anchor says on Fox News or CNN or whatever news they tune into, and they will believe that over common sense. And guess what? When was the last time the news ever reported on something real, like the fact that every day 30,000 kids still die? I forget what it is on Google, but you can search like the World Death Clock or the World Hunger Clock, and you can literally see moment by moment how many people are dying from hunger. And guess what? It's not that hard to solve hunger. If you put all the billionaires in the room, even a handful of them, and we work out some distribution channels so that people have the knowledge to grow gardens and the distribution system so people at least have enough to eat, that'd be awesome. But guess what? Even if that happens and people don't get educated, will the abuse continue? Absolutely. Because there will be people who, thank you, like theworldcounts.com. And because there will still be people who will be living in fear because they haven't been educated to understand what is fear, what is their mind, what are their emotions, why they can't trust their neighbor. Because if you have very low vocabulary, you cannot process reality. Unfortunately, that's just the way things are. As the education level goes up, people will start to realize, wait, I don't need to just hoard all these resources and just fend for myself. I can actually look out for other people. And hey, giving is actually a power. Like, there's power in the ability to give. And so that's the world that we're actually creating. So that is the dream. So in terms of when's the last time I dreamed, I mean, last Friday on the Self-Perfected call, we did this exercise. But I'm constantly doing this now. And I'm using TechnoTutor specifically, which is a powerful tool to help you learn and integrate information rapidly. And I'm doing that with the stuff that I want to see for the world, such as we end homelessness, we end hunger, we get the nutrition to every child. So I'm now looking at stuff like, well, what nutrition does a child need, like to develop their brain? And it's like, okay, cool. But I'm also not getting sucked into that because I realize, again, because I've actually improved my education like way beyond anything that I thought was possible, I can now assess a mass amount of data and I can now apply myself in the moment to understand what is the highest leverage, highest priority thing. And so for myself, guess what? It's going to local meetups. It's talking to people that are involved with TechnoTutor. It's talking to people that are looking at how do we, one, improve ourselves, and then two, share this with people around us. And I'm going as deep as possible into understanding and writing out all of my own limiting beliefs and programs. Because I went to public school. I went to a very nice school. I grew up in, fortunately, a great school system. Guess what? They didn't teach me anything about dreaming. They didn't teach me anything about finance. They didn't teach me anything about reality. They didn't teach me about emotions or the mind. They didn't teach me about self-forgiveness. They didn't teach me anything that actually matters. And I went to one of the best public school systems in the United States, which is apparently one of the best countries in the world in terms of education. Everyone's like, oh, well, Europe. Europe is actually better. Okay, do they teach any of that in Europe too? No, they don't. So if you're serious about your dreams, first, it comes back to yourself, and you have to look at, okay, what do I want for myself? Then for my community, and then for the world. Ideally, you can get it all kind of wrapped up in one. But then, if you want to actually make that happen, get TechnoTutor. Join Self-Perfected. Learn what it is that we're actually doing, because over the weeks, months, and years to come, you're going to see more of us stepping into positions of responsibility, running for political office, advocating at higher levels in, for example, within courts. I have lawyers that I've sold TechnoTutor to. I have people that actually want to align their dream of what they want for themselves and their kids with a better world where everyone's educated. Everyone has access to information. People are smarter. People are more compassionate. And we have more fun. Because I have a lot more fun when I'm hanging out with people that we're in alignment of principles than people who are just like looking for drama or gossip or just looking to go drink or whatever. It's like, this is the time. And every day that we wait, we're allowing abuse in the world. Because just like Lake put in the comments, theworldcounts.com, that number is going to grow today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. But guess what? In 3 years, do you think we can make a dent on that? In 10 or 20 years, do you think we could eliminate that? Absolutely. I have zero doubt that that can and will happen. But it's because some of you watching this video have that spark of life within you that's like, I want to be part of that. I want to do that. I want to dream bigger. I want to actually make things happen. And I want to do it for real. Because we have this solution for real. And it's not sit in a circle and meditate or visualize world peace. That doesn't do anything. Because guess what? Where's the world peace? There's a lot of people doing that. It comes from actual, real, one-by-one communication with people in your community, supporting people to become highly educated. They share it with another, they share it with another, they share it with another. You do that a couple iterations, now you've reached 1 million people. Those people now step up into positions of power. They start to get influence in the media. They get influence in Hollywood. They can influence some celebrities to talk about this. But again, the celebrity talking about it ain't going to do shit. However, you get enough of these people who actually get it. They adopt those principles for themselves. They do their process. So they rebuild their fundamental education. Like, y'all, if you were not exposed to words with a proper definition, so when your mom told you the word street, it was probably, don't run into the street, or don't run into the street or I'll smack you, or don't run into the street because you'll get hit by a car and you'll die. Instead of street, a road by which vehicles drive on. It's just a logical, common sense definition. But if your mom or dad or whoever was yelling at you about don't go in the street, guess what? Street has a charge to it within you, an emotional charge. And there might be a positive charge because it's like, oh, I get to go biking in the street and it's fun. Or a don't go in the street or someone's going to hit me or I'm going to get hurt. That's a negative charge. Guess what? You're walking around now 24/7 literally resonating that into the environment. So every time you get on the street, you're participating in that. So until you apply the tools, techno-tutor, self-forgiveness, on all these words, you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to get every single word. But I'm saying the major ones. And you aren't even going to know what those are right now. I didn't realize how much shit I had within myself around the word freaking door. If anyone wants to hear that story, get Techno-Tutor, join the elite education call that I have, or join Self-Perfected, and I'll share those stories. Because there's so much held within you. It's wild. And we need to work on correcting all of that, because as we correct that within, that gets reflected in the world without, and it just becomes easier to make things happen. So, I'm going to keep dreaming. I suggest you do the same. And I suggest you tap into our network of people who are dreaming about stuff where we're actually making it happen, instead of living in la-la fantasy land, thinking that if I just meditate, or if I just hold the intention and hold enough love in my heart, that will be happy, I'll be happy and we can make happiness, everyone will be happy. It's like, people are going to be happy when we figure out how we can get everyone's basic needs met. And when they have enough money so they can get their basic needs covered. And if you don't have enough food, no amount of love, of light, of feeling good is going to do anything. And so if you need to feel good and you need to feel light and love in order to get moving, then okay, do that for right now. But realize that you're still a slave to your emotions then and feelings. Because if you're serious about wanting to make an impact, even in your own life, guess what? There's going to be days where you don't want to get out of bed. There's going to be days when you don't feel like talking to a stranger. There's going to be days when you feel like I'll just cancel my plans. Guess what? Those are the days where you need to make it happen. And love and light is not the answer. Just meditating or trying to feel good is not the answer. The answer is in your physical programming that's held in your body. Because guess what? That's where your thoughts and your dreams even come from. That's a level that we're working on. So, if you've watched any of this and any of this resonates, reach out. Leave me a message. We can talk. I'm not here to try and be like, join now and you totally have to be on board with us. Let's at least have a conversation. Because everybody who has joined this group and who has taken it on for themselves, their life improves a lot in ways you can't even imagine yet, such as stopping friction in personal relationships and not reacting when things happen. Or during COVID, when the economy is crashing and all this stuff is happening, people being more stable, creating more money, creating more opportunity, seeing more opportunity, and then growing, and then being a stable point for their community. So that is what we're about. That's why I keep dreaming. And for those who are in Self-Perfected, or for those who want to join, guess what? We have another call tonight. And this one will probably even be better, because every single week it keeps getting better. As Isabel just said in the comments, my life has totally improved on so many levels. And Isabel, I'm sure for years, has been looking at, different ways to improve and get better and all this. Guess what? We walk the talk. I know Isabel knows that. And that is inspiring, because now, kind of like I dreamed about years and years ago when I said, I want to have friends that I'm friends with for the rest of my life. Like, I want to have people that really care and really want to make a difference. And if some of them become billionaires and some of them are just, just people who are like taking responsibility in their local community. Whatever. We all have our point. It's not about any being better or worse or whatever. It's like, within your self-honesty, are you living up to your utmost potential? And are you working for that every day? And if you fall off, cool. That's where self-forgiveness comes in. Apply the correction, and then we keep moving forward together. That's the world that we're creating. And I suggest join us. Yeah, whether it's you or you have people in your network, like, we are growing, we're here to stay, and that is straight up our actual dream and our intention is to end child slavery, abuse, and poverty, and create a world that's actually best for all, where everyone has at least their basic needs met, and from there, so much more is going to open up. So stay tuned, everybody. Check out Self-Perfected. We talk about this stuff all the time. Thanks for watching, and if you found any benefit from this, comment, like, share, and let's continue talking. So cheers, everybody.